चक्षु तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुत पदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखावितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते बीबी गोविंद स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। So, welcome everyone. We have finished 5 chapters and today we are going to start chapter 6. So we are going to do a quick recap of the first 5 chapters. एक slide में, so that you get the connectivity. Flow में हम 5 chapters summarize करेंगे and then when we start chapter 6, then you will be able to get the whole train of thoughts. So this is based on His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, his translations. We've already done the Mangalacharan. This slide is a summary of chapter 1 and chapter 2. Chapter 1 is all about the preparation for the Great World War in Dwapar Yuga. It was the greatest world war that went on for 18 days and very quickly it concluded in 18 days. Only 5 people survived and I think crores were annihilated. Everybody on the battlefield was killed. Nobody survived except the Pandavas. And this chapter opens with, as you can see in this picture, Arjun becomes suddenly very confused, scared, and bewildered. He loses his courage just before the start of the World War, and he gives up his Gandhi, which he had vowed never to put down. And he tells Krishna, I don't want to fight. And his reasons were compassion for his family members, enjoyment, he will not be able to enjoy. By killing all of them, how will he enjoy his kingdom? His family tradition, if it is destroyed, then Varna Sankhar, all unwanted progeny, low quality children will be born because women will be unprotected. And fear of sinful reactions, that he will rot in hell for killing his own people. And in chapter 2, after hearing him out in the entirety of chapter 1, finally Krishna kind of chastises him, that how has this kind of cowardliness come upon you? और मतलब कृष्णा इतना उनको chastise करते हैं कि उनको eunuch बुलाते हैं, that you are important, you are a hijra, that such a learned man like yourself and coming from a Kuru dynasty, which is such a elevated saintly dynasty, उसके वंशज होकर तुम इतनी cowardly बात कर रहे हो. And his 5th reason for not fighting, indecision, also is tackled in this chapter. And because Arjun is a devotee, so even though he displays all these 5 weaknesses, still he is not destroyed by these 5 weaknesses. Why? Because he surrenders to Lord Krishna, and therefore he gets saved, because now he is come at the right place and he will now get the right advice. So Krishna starts instructing Arjun once he surrenders to him and says that you tell me what to do. So in this chapter, since Arjun is horrified at the thought of killing his relatives, Krishna begins his teachings. He summarizes, actually, chapter 2, where Krishna summarizes the entire Bhagavad Gita. So he says that first he talks about Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya means the analytical study of matter and spirit soul. That soul is eternal, it cannot be killed, body is just temporary, only that gets killed. This is the Sankhya philosophy. And then he goes on to explain Karma Kand to Arjun. He says, even if you don't want to follow Sankhya philosophy, even if you follow Karma Kand, then also you are in a winning position. If you die, you'll go to heaven. If you win, if you don't die and you win the battle, you become the king of the earth. So either ways, whether you live or you die, you have nothing to lose. But if you run away from the battlefield, then you are in trouble, because then you will be dishonored. The other party, the Kauravas, are never going to give you credit that you ran away from the battlefield because of compassion. They will only say that you ran away because you were scared of them. Plus, you are a Kshatriya by nature. You will not be able to live like a Brahmin. A Kshatriya has to do a Kshatriya duty only to be happy. And you will never be happy. You will be miserable if you leave the battlefield and go away. So then he goes on to explain what is Buddhi Yoga, which is Nishkam Karma Yoga, which is you work in the mode of selfless service by not being attached to the results of your work. And you do it with full determination and with full focus without getting distracted. और इस बुद्धि योगा का निष्काम कर्म योगा का रिजल्ट क्या है? You will not get any reaction for killing even your own people. And you will be able to get out of the cycle of birth and death by killing your own kinsmen. This is the great secret of Nishkam Karma Yoga. And then Arjun asks him, what are the symptoms, of a realized soul? वो कैसे चलते हैं, है ना? वो कैसे बैठते हैं, क्या बातें करते हैं, किस तरह से बोलते हैं? He wants to know. Says people who are following Buddhi Yoga, Nishkam Karma Yoga, उनका behavior कैसा है? So Krishna lists them out, all those 6 questions. Detail में वो समझाते हैं that such a person who is following Buddhi Yoga is free from the desire to enjoy his senses. He has a very steady mind, वो विचलित नहीं हो जाता सुख और दुख में. Similarly, he is indifferent to good and evil. And he has a taste for Bhakti Yoga. He likes doing it. He is able to control his senses, not by sitting in meditation, but by engaging them in seva. And being thus situated at the time of death, very easily he can enter into the kingdom of God. But if one who is not connected with Krishna or is not doing Bhakti Yoga or seva, he will never have steady mind or peace or happiness. जितना मर्जी वो किसी भी तरह का योगा और meditation को join कर ले, neither will he get peace nor happiness nor a steady mind. So this is a summary of that. So this is chapter 3. Arjuna asks why Lord Krishna wants him to fight. So the Lord recommends Buddhi Yoga, that you do Buddhi Yoga. And Arjun confuses that. He says, अगर आप मुझे भक्ति योगा करने के लिए कह रहे हो, this means I have to retire. You know, I don't have to do anything with this war, with becoming a king, with anything. I just have to go into the jungle and chant your names and, you know, sit in meditation. So he confuses bhakti yoga as not doing anything at all. And he condemns fruitive activities. So according to Arjun, the war is a fruitive activity. So he says, फिर मैं ये कर्म कांड है, ये जो मैं war करने वाला हूँ, लड़ाई जो ये करने वाला हूँ, ये तो कर्म कांड है. So why do I have to do this? So दोनों ही points उसके उनके गलत थे. So Krishna clarifies this through detailed explanation of Sankhya Yoga and the four types of yoga. So Lord Krishna says he has actually recommended one process with two stages. एक तो कर्म योग और एक ज्ञान योग. And then he also goes on to say that there are also two ways to realize yourself. The Sankhya Yoga, that is the analytical study, is purifying your senses by philosophical process. इसमें सेवा नहीं है, इसमें केवल पठन पाठन है, पढ़ना, trying to understand the Shastra and trying to purify your desires, your various material expectations को philosophical process से purify करने की कोशिश करो. But the soul is active by nature. So just giving up work, not doing anything, and just doing analytical study is not going to purify you of your materialistic desires. So what will happen is after a while, in Sankhya Yoga, one will be pretenders. You will become a pretender because senses तो control हुई नहीं, desires तो अभी पूरे गए नहीं, काम आपने करना छोड़ दिया ऊपर से और. So the one will be pretender as the senses may be restrained, but the mind will still dwell on the sense. इच्छा अंदर रहेगी. Outwardly आप अपने आप को force कर लोगे कि मैं नहीं अभी करूँगा, but इच्छा जब तक नहीं मरेगी, sooner or later you are going to do it. This is the explanation of Krishna, that why Sankhya Yoga is not recommended. Then he explains Karma Yoga. And in Karma Yoga, he explains then Nishkam Karma Yoga and Buddhi Yoga. So Karma Yoga means working, but working for a result. And Nishkam Karma Yoga is working without expectation of any result, just doing it as your duty. So the result of such a work of Nishkam Karma Yoga is that if it is performed for the satisfaction of Vishnu, then this desires in your heart, the desire to enjoy your sense objects will be cleaned. In fact, it will be burnt and it will make you free from bondage. So the learned people will take to Krishna consciousness, but those who are ignorant, they cannot perform work in devotion with detachment. They then perform work as prescribed in the Karma Kand section of the Yogas, of the Vedas. जो ignorant होते हैं, वो ये बात समझ नहीं पाते या करना नहीं चाहते, या उनको इसमें इसकी value नहीं दिखती. तो वो, what do they take to? They take to yagya, sacrifices, all the different karma kandic activities, puja part, the recently हमने नवरात्रे मनाए, that also comes in karma kand. You must have noticed कि जितनी जोर शोर से नवरात्रे मने, राम नवमी के टाइम पे सब कुछ गायब था. राम नवमी was the conclusion of those 8 days of profuse fasting and puja and everything. And on the day of Ram Navami, if you ask all these people, they'll say, हाँ आज तो हमने कुछ नहीं किया. You know, other than कंजक बिठाना, जब तक कंजके नहीं बैठी, उसके बाद से then people don't do anything, which is actually trying to please Lakshmi without her husband. जब husband की बारी आई on Ram Navami to glorify Lord Ram, people neglected that. So this is an example of karma kand. Shitala Mata. Yesterday in Bhagavatam I was reading second canto, where Prabhupada explains that all these are example. People, worship Shitala Mata because um, they get free from all. They get shitalta. They get free from the heat of material life. Therefore, they try to Shani Dev की पूजा करते हैं लोग. All that is so that वो यहाँ पर enjoy कर सकें बिना किसी बाधा के. बाधाएं निकाल दो ताकि हम enjoy कर सकें. So that's an example of karma kand. So one who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, he has no other duty to perform. And by working thus with detachment, one will attain Krishna. So the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita, crux of Bhagavad Gita is work only for Krishna, without self-motivation, following his teachings faithfully, without envy, irsya, and free from alas, free from laziness, free from lethargy. Then you will become free from bondage and you will attain perfection. And this chapter mein, Krishna also brings his attention to lust, which is the biggest enemy. Of all our problems, the biggest enemy is lust. और कहाँ उन्होंने ही also explained to Arjun कि lust कहाँ पे पाया जाता है. Lust की sitting place क्या है? एक तो हमारी इंद्रियां, then ये तो इंद्रियां तो gross body है, तो इसमें तो lust बैठता ही है. Then subtle body में भी lust बैठा होता है. कहाँ पे? Mind में और intelligence में. And in those subtle और gross bodies के जो main gates हैं, उन सब पे lust का कब्जा है. And therefore the soul is in ignorance. And how can you conquer this lust? How can you kill this demon of lust? By niyam, by following a strict discipline of bhakti yoga, by regulating your senses, by performing all your duties with detachment. And you steady your mind with Krishna consciousness. When you regulate your lifestyle, when you regulate the time you wake up, the time you go to sleep, what kind of food you eat, ये सारी चीजें जब regulate कर लेते हो, बहुत easily आप lust को overcome कर सकते हो. So this was chapter 3. And then chapter 4, Lord Krishna reveals transcendental knowledge. Lord Krishna's appearance and activities are transcendental. He says, how does he prove that to Arjun? Because he says that, look, Arjun, you can't remember your past so many lives, but I can remember all about your past, all about your past, your present, and even your future. I can remember all your past lifetimes also. So he says that's the difference between you and me. So karma does not apply to Krishna because Krishna is not under the control of the three gunas. So his body is also not like Arjun's. Although शक्ल में, देखने में बिल्कुल same है, और planet Earth पे भी वो है. He has a mother and father also on planet Earth, yet his body is not like that of the other people. And then Krishna also reveals why he has come. Of course, he has come to kill the miscreants, लेकिन वो तो main reason नहीं है. That's just a side reason. The main reason is he comes for his devotees. He comes to take back all those pious people जो इतनी श्रद्धा से भक्ति योगा कर रहे हैं from so many lifetimes. He comes to claim them. And he also comes to re-establish dharma जो destroy हो चुका है. So he wants to keep a righteous king on the Rajgaddi of the world so that dharma can be re-established under his leadership. So the prime main purpose of Krishna to come is for his devotees, not to kill the demons. Killing demons is like उनके बाएं हाथ का खेल. He does not have to come personally. उसके लिए तो वो अपने कितने अनेकों servants को भेज सकते हैं kill करने के लिए. वो आते अपने भक्तों की वजह से. And one who can understand this fact does not take birth again. So Krishna will reciprocate with you according to the degree of your surrender. Ye yatha mam prapatyante tam sathaiva yajamaha. And everyone ultimately surrenders to Krishna, because it is Krishna only who awards you the results of your fruit, of your work. वही आपको results देते हैं. He has created this varnashram system. Krishna is making these claims, all these claims in chapter 4, कि मैं ही हूँ ये varnashram system बनाने वाला. According to the 3 modes of material nature, sattva, rajo, tamo. But he says, मैं इस sattva, rajo, tamo के beyond हूँ. I don't come under their rules and regulations. So all the liberated souls, they act without becoming entangled in these 3 modes, because they know that Krishna is going to give the result and he is the creator of varnashram system. So Arjun therefore should perform his duty and fight for Krishna. He should not think that fighting is a karma kanding activity, because this is a direct order of the Lord. So he has to consider that as the topmost bhakti yoga, to do as Krishna is saying, to fight with detachment. Then he will not get any reaction. So Krishna explains then the intricacies of how when you do karma, uske kaise aap uske reactions mein band jate ho. How a learned man in full knowledge he acts, and he is unaffected by the reactions of work. And he renounces his self-interested actions. He acts only for Krishna, and he gives up all sense of ownership, acting only for the bare necessities of life. He does not try to claim something or own something. Completely considers himself like Krishna's pet dog. You know, Ami tumar kukur. You tell me what to do, and I'm just like a hen-pecked husband. You, whatever you say, I will do. जो इस mentality के साथ जीना शुरू कर देता है, very quickly he will reach the stage of happiness. So Krishna in this chapter also describes the different types of sacrifices that are recommended in the Vedas. जो मंद बुद्धि के लोग होते हैं उनको sacrifices बताई जाती हैं कि धीरे धीरे sacrifices करते करते आप transcendental knowledge achieve कर लोगे, बिना without reading or going into Sankhya Yoga or analytical study of the Shastra. And what is the way recommended to conduct these different kind of sacrifices? सबसे पहले approach a guru, a self-realized, bona fide, qualified guru who is coming from parampara. And कैसे इसमें कृष्ण ने क्या बताया, कैसे गुरु को approach करना है? With submission, humbly. You have to go first, you serve him, and after giving him some service, then you inquire very humbly from him. Then you will get knowledge from him. And ultimate knowledge of all jiva is that all the jivas are parts and parcels of Krishna. And this knowledge actually destroys all your karmic reactions and brings the supreme spiritual peace. But जो faithless हैं, जिनकी आस्था नहीं है, who think that their indriya tripti is the supreme goal of life. They are here to enjoy, and whatever work they have done, they are the rightful owners of the result of that work. Such people will never get happiness. So conclusion of the chapter is Krishna commands to Arjun. He destroys all his doubts by spiritual knowledge, and then he says, Uttisht, now stand up and fight. This is also yoga. Armed with this yoga, get up and fight. And in the 5th chapter, Arjun inquires, which is superior, renouncing or working? सब कुछ छोड़ छाड़ कर renounced होकर बैठ जाए, वो superior है, या working in devotion, bhakti yoga superior? So, I mean, this is a no-brainer. Krishna clearly says that bhakti yoga is superior, even to renouncing. one who is detached from the results of his work, is the one who is truly renounced, and the results of both is ultimately the same, coming to me. But devotional service is superior because it is quicker, it is easier, and it is foolproof, and especially recommended for Kali Yuga, because ना हमारे पास qualities है, ना हमारे पास age है, we don't have very many years, plus we are all the time in anxiety. The struggle for staying alive and earning a living and running a family itself is so high कि वो इतनी tense जीवन में जीते हुए, it's very difficult to practice detachment. So bhakti yoga is the recommended formula in this age, which is nishkam karma, in which he explains that a pure soul does not become entangled even while working, because he's fixed on Krishna. He knows that while the material senses are engaged with the sense objects, actually result Krishna की वजह से ही आ रहा है, उनकी वजह से या उनकी मेहनत की वजह से नहीं आ रहा. So one is unaffected by sinful action and is not entangled when he performs his work without attachment and with surrendering all the results to Krishna, with no greed for fruits. This is called Nishkam Karma Yoga. And what are the results of acting like this? It leads to happiness within the city of 9 gates. Situated in realization, the master of the city sees the modes of nature at work within himself and others around him. So, Ashtang Yoga का preview दिया है इस chapter में, where Krishna is saying that you will become free from anger, you will become free from fear, dar, you will become free from desires, and you will get fully liberated if you follow the Asht Yoga system, the 8 limbs of yoga. And finally, he gives the peace formula in the last verse of chapter 5, that if the whole world comes just to this understanding that Krishna is the owner of this world, everything is working under his command, he is the commander in chief. Also, whatever work is being done, he is the chief beneficiary. All the results are going to him. And he is everyone's friend, regardless of country, regardless of religion, regardless of caste, regardless of language. Krishna is a friend to everyone. If this can be propagated all over the world, it is the most successful peace formula जो प्रभुपाद ने करके दिखाया, वो भी 50 years back. Every country that he has gone to is now accepting that Krishna is the supreme proprietor and he is the beneficiary of all work and he is also their friend. So everybody is connected on the same platform of Krishna consciousness, and this, as Prabhupada said, is the real United Nations. किसी भी country में आप चले जाओ, they will be speaking the same language as you, and naturally that will bring world peace. So this is the real peace formula. So 5th chapter में Krishna had निष्काम कर्म योगा के बारे में तो बताया ही था, कर्म कांड के बारे में भी बताया था, लेकिन 5th chapter में एक इंट्रोडक्शन सा दिया था फॉर अष्टांग योगा कि ये भी एक तरीका है मुझ तक आने का. 6th chapter में he is going to talk about that in detail. He's going to talk about what exactly is Ashtanga Yoga and how we can even achieve Krishna through Ashtanga Yoga. So let's read chapter 6, verse 1. Who would like to read?
Can I read?
Yes, we know.
Anashrita karma phalam karye karma karoti ya sa sannyasi cha yogi jana niragnir na chakriye. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated is in the renounced order of life, and he is the true mystic. No, not he who lights no fire and performs no duty.
बहुत important point बता रहे हैं इसमें. Again, as you can see, इस वर्ष से के ऊपर क्या लिखा है? श्री भगवान उवाच. मतलब भगवान खुद कह रहे हैं कि one who is unattached to the fruits of his work, कि चलो ठीक है काम कर रहा है लेकिन फल की इच्छा नहीं कर रहा, and who works as he is obligated, और जो इस तरह से काम करता है कि मैं इसको एज एन ऑब्लिगेशन कर रहा हूँ, मेरे ऊपर इतने उपकार हैं सभी लोगों के, सभी देवी देवताओं के, एवरीथिंग इज डूइंग सो मच फेवर अपॉन मी, सो आई हैव टू डू दिस एज माय ड्यूटी. जो हर चीज को एज एन ऑब्लिगेशन करके करे वो ऑलरेडी रिनाउंस्ड है, उसको दुनिया से जाने की जरूरत नहीं. एंड ही इज अ ट्रू मिस्टिक ऑल्सो. He is also a yogi. Such a person is living in this world, a renounced person, a sannyasi, and a yogi both. Not he who lights no fire and performs no duty. मतलब उसको हम योगी नहीं कह सकते जिसने who lights no fire, जिसने कोई यज्ञ नहीं किया, कोई तप नहीं किया, and who performs no duty, जिसने कोई शास्त्रों के अनुसार काम नहीं किया, किसी के गाइडेंस के अंदर काम नहीं किया. ऐसे आदमी को अगर वो दुनिया से भी संन्यास ले लेता है और जाकर डिटैच्ड वे में जी रहा है, तब भी he will not be considered renounced. But a person who living in this world continues to live in this world even as a grihasti, but is living in such a way that he is obligated. So imagine हम अगर हमेशा in a sense of obligation जी रहे हैं, and we are not expecting anything for in return for our hard work that we are doing to live in this world. Krishna says he is a true. इसको मैं liberated मानूंगा. He is renounced. So in this chapter, the Lord explains that the process of the eightfold yoga system, Ashtanga Yoga, is a means to control the mind and the senses. However, it's very difficult for people in general to perform, especially in the age of Kali. Although the eightfold yoga system is recommended in this chapter, the Lord emphasizes that the process of Karma Yoga or Krishna consciousness is better. So Krishna सारे options दे रहे हैं अर्जुन के सामने. It's not that he is saying कि मेरी सुनो बस मैं तुम्हें conclusion बता रहा हूँ. No, he is going to tell him A, B, C. ऐसे भी कर सकते हो, ऐसे भी कर सकते हो, ऐसे भी कर सकते हो. Now you choose what you want to do. And when Arjun asks him कि आप इसमें से क्या recommend करेंगे, then he says that I will recommend Bhakti Yoga at the top. So इस chapter में he is talking about कि ध्यान योगा, अष्टांग योगा से भी आप कर सकते हैं. Everyone acts in this world to maintain his family and their paraphernalia, मतलब घर गृहस्थी रिश्तेदार. But no one is working without self-interest or some personal gratification. है ना? इसके मतलब सब ये अपनी ड्यूटीज कर तो रहे हैं, लेकिन हर कोई इसके बदले में एक्सपेक्टेशन के साथ साथ कर रहे हैं, है ना? बच्चे पाल रहे हैं, बुढ़ापे में मेरा ध्यान रखेंगे. रिश्तेदारों के साथ डीलिंग रख रहे हैं कि ये भी हमारे साथ ऐसे ही डील करेंगे. हम इनकी शादियों में इसलिए जाते हैं कि ये भी हमारी शादियों में आए. किसी ना किसी एक्सपेक्टेशन के साथ कर रहे हैं हम सारी ड्यूटीज. The criteria of perfection is to act in Krishna consciousness and not with a view to enjoy the results or the fruits of work. To act in Krishna consciousness is the duty of every living entity because all are parts and parcels of Krishna. But the parts of the body work for the satisfaction of the whole body. The limbs of the body do not act for self-satisfaction, but for the satisfaction of the complete whole. हाथ, पैर, उंगलियां, नाखून, कान, आंख, सबको ब्रेन के साथ कोऑपरेट करके चलना है. जैसा ब्रेन बोलेगा, जैसा सोल बोलेगा, वैसे ही काम करना है इनको. तब they will also be happy, the body will also be nourished, and the soul will also be happy, है ना. बट वो हमेशा ऐसा मान कर चलते हैं, जो ये इंद्रियां हैं, हाथ पैर उंगलियां, वो ये हमेशा मान कर चलते हैं कि जो ओनर है उन सबका वो सोल है, जो बैठा हुआ है, इस ड्राइवर है, जो इस बॉडी का ड्राइवर, उसको वो होल एंड सोल मानते हैं और उसके कहे अनुसार चलते हैं, है ना. अपनी मर्जी से काम नहीं करते हाथ पैर. जब तक डायरेक्शन नहीं आता सोल से, जब तक सोल नहीं बोलता कि ये हाथ उठो, वहां जाओ, इस चीज को उठा के मेरे मुंह में डालो, तब तक हाथ अपने आप नहीं करता. अगर हम भी इसी मेंटालिटी के साथ जीना शुरू कर दें कि मैं ये जो कुछ भी कर रही हूँ एक्चुअली अंडर ऑब्लिगेशन कर रही हूँ, इट इज आई एम obliged टू डू दिस, then whatever work you do you will not get reaction for that. And similarly, the living entity who acts for the satisfaction of Krishna and not for his own personal sense gratification is a sannyasi. Such a person is a sannyasi or a yogi. इस दुनिया में रह के, गृहस्थ आश्रम में रह के, बीवी बच्चों को पालते हुए भी वो योगी है. ये चीज हमें कभी नहीं समझ आ सकती थी. हमारे मन में हमेशा यही आइडिया है कि जो जिसकी बीवी नहीं होती, यू नो, हु डजंट हैव अ वाइफ, हु डज नॉट एंजॉय family life, only such a person can be called a sannyasi or a really renounced person, है ना. जो घर गृहस्थी में उनको तो हम बोलेंगे कि ये तो सब कुछ एंजॉय कर रहे हैं, ये काहे के योगी हुए, ये कहाँ से renounced हो गए. But you are considered renounced through your mind, not through your ashram. आपका भाव कैसा है अंदर, आपकी कॉन्शियसनेस क्या है, उससे आप renounced माने जाते हैं. The sannyasi sometimes artificially thinks that they have become liberated from all material duties, and therefore they cease to perform agnihotra yajnas, fire sacrifices. जो सन्यासी हैं, क्योंकि दुनिया को छोड़ देते हैं, घर बार छोड़ देते हैं, दुनिया से विरक्त हो जाते हैं, तो वो यज्ञ भी करना बंद कर देते हैं कि इसकी भी मुझे जरूरत नहीं है. दिस इज रॉन्ग. Then he is not a sannyasi, he has not renounced everything. They are actually self-interested, because their goal is to become one with Brahman. So actually वो सन्यासी नहीं है, वो renounced नहीं है, क्योंकि उनको लग रहा है कि अब मैंने सब कुछ छोड़ दिया, तो मैं I am going to go and merge into the body of Brahma Jyoti. This is a desire. This is an indication of a desire. So this means you are not renounced. You are also attached because you want this result. Such a desire is greater than any material desire. This is even a bigger desire than desire for a beautiful woman or children or wealth or fame. ये उससे भी बड़ा घिनौना desire है. Can you believe this? It's such a enlightening, such a powerful statement. But it is not without self-interest. इसमें भी self-interest है, क्योंकि आप भगवान के बराबर बनना चाहते हो, है ना. आप उनमें मिल जाना चाहते हो, that तू और मैं एक. So this is not called renunciation. Similarly, जो mystic योगी है, जो बहुत कठोर तपस्या के साथ जो योगा प्रैक्टिस करते हैं, अष्टांग योगा प्रैक्टिस करते हैं, अपनी आंखें हाफ क्लोज करके रखते हैं. पिछले चैप्टर में बताया था ना कृष्ण ने, if you keep your eyes half closed and you stop breathing, your inhalation or exhalation को आप बीच में ही रोक लेते हो, so that you stop breathing, you are able to hold your breath for long. This is a form of ashtang yoga. जो ये प्रैक्टिस करते हैं, जो लोग ये अचीव, सपोजिंग वो जो ये अचीव भी कर लें, उनके डिजायर्स फिर भी कंट्रोल नहीं होते. इतना सब करने के बाद भी उनके डिजायर्स अभी भी अंदर रहते हैं. But a person acting in Krishna consciousness, he works for the satisfaction of Krishna without any self-interest. So he has no desire. His criteria of success is that if Krishna is satisfied, I am satisfied. And therefore, he is higher than this yogi. He is higher than this sannyasi. मतलब जो मिस्टिक योगी से भी ज्यादा वो अचीव कर सकता है. Lord Chaitanya, the highest perfectional symbol of renunciation, prays, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagat ish kamaye, mama janmani janmanishware bhavatad bhaktir, hai tukhi. This is Shikshashtakam. the 8 verses left behind by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. इसमें से third verse है. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor enjoy beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers, nor fame. What I want only is your mercy of your devotional service in my life. What I want only is the causeless mercy of your devotional service in my life, birth after birth. Only such a person can be called that he has no self-interest. Bhagavatam, I was reading that जो कर्मीज होते हैं, जो कर्म कांड बहुत अच्छे से करते हैं, they follow all the rules and regulations of the Vedas, उनको कर्मीज कहते हैं. They are called actually bhukti kamis. कामी है वो भी, लस्ट है, भुक्त, they are bhukti kamis. क्या उनका लस्ट है, उनकी डिजायर क्या है? Material enjoyment. इसके बदले में मुझे uninterrupted supply of enjoyment मिले. ना मैं बूढ़ा हूँ, ना मुझे डिजीज आए, और मैं परमानेंटली और कंटिन्यूसली वो चीजें एंजॉय. ये भाव रहता है बिहाइंड ऑल द कर्मीज हु फॉलो ऑल द रिचुअल्स ऑफ कर्मकांड. सिमिलरली जो ज्ञानीज होते हैं, जिन्होंने बहुत डिटेल्ड में शास्त्रों का अध्ययन किया है, ज्ञानी है, दे आर मुक्ति कामीज. उनका भी डिजायर होता है, देयर डिजायर इज कि मुझे मुक्ति मिल जाए. But mukti is what? Mukti is not liberation. I mean, mukti is not freedom from birth and death. Mukti means they want to merge into Brahman. So their desire also is that I want to become equal to him. मैं इनके अंदर मिल जाऊं, इनके बराबर मिल जाऊं, so that whatever he is enjoying, I also enjoy. So ये उनकी desire होती है. Even in jnanis. Similarly, yogis, जो बहुत कठोर तपस्या करते हैं, रावण ने की, हिरण्यकशिपु ने की, बिल्कुल सूख के तीला हो गए, एक ही जगह पर 60,000 साल तक बैठे रहे, कीड़ियों ने उनके ऊपर एंट हिल बना दिया, दे स्टॉप्ड ईटिंग, दे स्टॉप्ड ब्रीदिंग, इतनी कठोर तपस्या. बट फिर भी उनके डिजायर इससे सबड्यू नहीं हुए, बल्कि तपस्या उन्होंने इसलिए की कि उनको सिद्धियां मिल जाए. लघीमा सिद्धि, अनीमा सिद्धि, छोटे से छोटे बन जाएं, बड़े से बड़े बन जाएं, हल्के हो जाएं एकदम कॉटन की तरह, भारी हो जाएं एकदम पहाड़ की तरह. ये सारी सिद्धियों के लिए उन्होंने ये कठोर तपस्या की. सो जो योगीज होते हैं वो भी सिद्धि कामीज होते हैं. लस्ट होती है फॉर सिद्धियां. और सिद्धियां क्यों चाहिए होती है उनको? फॉर एंजॉइंग, फॉर मटीरियल परफेक्शन, कि उनको इस दुनिया में रहते हुए कोई भी बाधा नहीं आए, जो भी बाधा है उसको वो क्रश कर सके. यही तो डिजायर थी हिरण्यकशिपु की. आई डोंट वांट टू डाई, आई वांट टू बी इटर्नली द किंग ऑफ दिस वर्ल्ड. तो मेरे हिसाब से दुनिया चलती रहे, इसलिए उसने ये किया था. सो कर्मी, ज्ञानी, योगी, all three have desires, but Vaishnavas only are called निष्कामीज. कर्मी जो होते हैं वो भुक्ति कामी है, ज्ञानी जो है वो मुक्ति कामी है, योगी जो है वो सिद्धि कामी है, लेकिन वैष्णव जो है वो निष्कामी है. They only want to do सेवा without expecting anything in return. And because they have, therefore only Vaishnavas are without pretension. They don't pretend, they don't pose, because they know that they know that I'm just a kukur, I'm just your pet dog in your angan. All they want is कि मुझे please अपना pet dog बनाए रखना, मुझे कहीं भेजना मत, and may I always be your pet dog. So they become desireless. ऐसे लोगों के डिजायर नहीं होते, या डिजायर को काबू में कर लेते हैं और धीरे धीरे वो डिजायर नष्ट हो जाते हैं. And therefore all the above three, कर्मी, ज्ञानी एंड योगी, हमेशा रेस्टलेस रहते हैं, क्योंकि उनको हमेशा लगा रहता है ये जो चीज मैंने प्राप्त की मुझसे छीन न जाए, ये मुझसे छिन न जाए, ये मुझे बनाए रखनी है, मेंटेनेंस की उनको हमेशा एंजाइटी रहेगी. सो दे विल बी रेस्टलेस. बट अ वैष्णव, because they desire, they have surrendered completely, they are shant, because they do not desire anything for themselves. Already they have surrendered to Krishna. जैसे तुम रखोगे मैं रहने को तैयार हूँ. So they have no anxiety to maintain themselves because that headache they have given to Krishna. Now Krishna is in anxiety. I have to take care of this devotee. है ना? इसके घर में अब शादी की जरूरत है. We have no all these examples. नरसिंह मेहता. नरसिंह मेहता was such a devotee of the Lord. उनकी बेटी की शादी थी. And सारे his wife died. You know when his daughter was still very small. उन्होंने बेटी को पाला. और लेकिन रोजी कमाते नहीं थे कुछ भी. और सब कहते थे कि भाई अब तेरी तो वाइफ भी नहीं है, बच्चा पालने के लिए कुछ तो काम कर. सारा दिन भजन करते थे. और बेटी देखते ही देखते बड़ी हो गई. गांव वालों ने किसी तरह पाल दी. अब इसकी शादी की बारी आई तो उन्होंने कहा नरसिंह मेहता कुछ तो कर, बेटी की शादी के लिए तो कुछ करना ही पड़ेगा. He said वो करेंगे, ठाकुर जी करेंगे, जिनके मैं भजन में लगा हुआ हूँ सारे दिन. ठाकुर जी करेंगे. एंड they said ठाकुर जी तो करेंगे, हम भी मानते हैं, हम भी ठाकुर जी को मानते हैं, लेकिन कुछ तो करना पड़ेगा तुझे. तो कहीं जा, कोई काम कर, किसी से बात कर. He said नहीं ठाकुर जी करेंगे. और वो सारा दिन भजन में रहते थे. एंड यहाँ तक कि यू नो रिश्ता पक्का हो गया. बारात की डेट हो गई कि बारात इस दिन आएगी. दिन कम होते जा रहे हैं. महीने से 4 हफ्ते, 4 हफ्ते से 3 हफ्ते, से 2 हफ्ते, से 1 हफ्ता, कुछ दिन बचे. एंड नो अरेंजमेंट ही हैज मेड. नो स्टॉक ऑफ फूड, नो लॉजिंग बोर्डिंग अरेंजमेंट, नथिंग. एंड जस्ट अ डे बिफोर वेडिंग, his daughter's wedding, और बारात आने के एक दिन पहले, a merchant, a rich businessman from this nearby village comes to him and says that Narasimha Mehta, I have come from that merchant's house और मुझे भेजा गया है. उन्होंने कहा है कि आपकी बेटी की शादी है. So I have been sent here to make all arrangements. So I have come with all the goods and all the people. सेवाधारी भी चाहिए ना. मैं इधर सारे लोग लेकर आया हूँ. हम यहाँ पे टेंट लगाएंगे. We will do everything. और उन्होंने सारी शादी का इंतजाम किया. शादी हुई, बारात आई, दूल्हा आया, उसकी विदाई हुई. यू नो सारी डाउरी दी गई. सारे गांव को मे बी 1 हफ्ते का भोजन कराया गया. यू नो सच अ लैविश अरेंजमेंट. And when everything was done, then everybody was all praises कि इतना smooth arrangement. नरसिंह मेहता मतलब flawless. आज तक हमारे गांव ने ऐसी शादी नहीं देखी. And they said कौन है ये आपके शुभ चिंतक, है ना? Who did you find out? You are really amazing. And then he said, I don't know. This person came and told me that somebody has sent him. So उन्होंने ही सब कुछ किया. तो मैं तो इसे जानता नहीं हूँ. ये यहाँ पे खड़े. जब ढूंढने लगे तो मिले ही नहीं. कहाँ गए? कहते हैं ये नहीं वो अभी चले गए होंगे. बिकॉज ही वाज सेइंग कि आई डोंट वांट टू टेक एनी क्रेडिट फॉर एनीथिंग. उसने मुझे एड्रेस दिया है. ये बगल के गांव में इस नाम के मर्चेंट के घर से आए थे. बगल के गांव में गए. वो मर्चेंट, वो गली नंबर, वो सब ढूंढा. देयर इज नो मर्चेंट बाय दैट नेम. नोबडी बाय दैट नेम. सो नरसिंह मेहता वाज केयरफ्री, बट he dedicated all his time to chanting the names of the Lord, to doing bhakti yoga. The Lord took care. So he was anxiety free, he was tension free. I mean, what siddhi compares to that? कौन सी योग सिद्धि will give you this kind of result? है ना? कौन सा कर्म ज्ञान, कौन सा ज्ञान will give you this kind of result? Therefore, bhakti yoga is supreme and easily done. Easily done. And Krishna says that you can buy me. ऐसे लोग मुझे खरीद लेते हैं. You know, when they surrender completely to me, they depend on me completely for their maintenance. So, therefore, such people, such bhakti yogis are without any pretense. And they're always peaceful and happy. This is what he's trying to say. Should we do one more verse? या बंद करें? एक और करें? नहीं
कर सकते हैं. I think
एक और आप पढ़ लीजिए. Anyone else wants to read the verse? Okay, no takers. आप पढ़िए.
यम संन्यासम इति प्राहुर प्राहुर योगम तम विद्धि पांडव ना है असन्यास संकल्पो योगी भवति कश्चन. What is called renunciation you should know to be the same as yoga, or linking oneself with the Supreme. O son of Pandu, for one can never become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification.
So real sannyas yoga or real bhakti yoga means that one should know his constitutional position as the living entity and act accordingly. याद है आपको हमने ये लाइन एक बार की थी, आपने कहा था कि एक वर्ड जिसके लिए हमने किया था, व्हाट वाज दैट वर्ड? हमें अपनी क्या पता होनी चाहिए? यस,
अपनी औकात पता होनी
औकात औकात मैं भी औकात बनना सही वर्ड है कि नहीं?
आपका लिप्स बना रहे थे वो शब्द, आप बोल नहीं रहे थे.
औकात.
इस सेंटेंस का ये मीनिंग है कि असली संन्यास और भक्ति योगा का मतलब है कि आपको अपनी औकात पता हो एंड यू एक्ट अकॉर्डिंगली. उस औकात के अनुसार आप बिहेव भी करें, है ना? तो सर्वेंट, जितने भी हमारे घर में सर्वेंट्स आते हैं वो वाकई अपनी औकात में होते हैं, इसलिए वो दे बिहेव द वे दे डू. उनको पता है कि हम सर्वेंट हैं, इसलिए वो उनका बिहेवियर रिफ्लेक्ट करता है उनकी बात में भी, उनके काम में भी, क्योंकि वो एट ऑल टाइम्स दे नो कि ये इस घर के मालिक ये हैं और मैं इनके घर काम करने आया. ऐसी मेंटालिटी के साथ अगर हम इस जीवन में जीना शुरू कर दें कि ये जो कुछ भी इस दुनिया में है एक्चुअली ये एक राजा का है, उस राजा का नाम कृष्ण है और मैं उसके राज दरबार में he has appointed me as a servant. तो हमारी कैसी मेंटालिटी होगी? हम जब एंजॉय करने निकलेंगे विल बी बिहेव लाइक मैंने पैसे दिए हैं मुझे मिलना चाहिए? वी विल नॉट हैव दैट मेंटालिटी. अरे खरीदा यार, पूरा दो. Isn't it? हमें जो कुछ भी मिला है वो उस राजा की बदौलत मिला है. He has sanctioned कि ओके चलो इनके घर में ये चीजें पहुंचा दो. Let them have a house in this शहर. Let them have a good this husband, these children and all these. ये सब उन्होंने हमें सैंक्शन करके दिया है. बट हमें एज अ सर्वेंट की औकात से उन चीजों को एक्सेप्ट करके शुक्रगुजार होकर बिहेव करते हुए इस जीवन को जीना है ना? कितनी मेंटालिटी में फर्क है. और अभी हमारी मेंटालिटी कितनी अग्रेसिव है that if I'm paying, I should get the result. If my neighbor has, I should have equal. ये कंपटीशन तो कभी आएगी ही नहीं if you have a servant mentality, isn't it? So the living entity has no separate independent identity. He is the marginal energy, tatastha energy of the Supreme. But when he is entrapped by material energy, he is conditioned. And when he is Krishna conscious or aware of the spiritual energy, then he is in his natural state. Therefore, when one is in complete knowledge, one ceases all material sense gratification or renounces all kinds of sense. Automatically आप sense gratificatory चीजों से निकल आओगे बाहर when you know कि ये आपको तीनों गुण में और implicate कर देंगे. सत्व रजो तमो में enjoyment will implicate you more and more. तो आप उसमें से automatically बाहर निकल आओगे and you will start engaging more in the service of Krishna. And this is practiced by the yogis who restrain the senses from material attachment. योगीज भी ऐसे ही करते हैं कि मुझे इस दुनिया की कोई भी चीज को एंजॉय नहीं करना है अपनी इंद्रियों से, लेकिन वो भक्ति भाव से नहीं करते. वो इस भाव से करते हैं कि मैं अपने माइंड को किसी तरह कंट्रोल कर लूं. लेकिन वो माइंड कंट्रोल क्यों करना चाहते हैं? ताकि फिर मैं इटरनली एंजॉय करूं. भाव उनका लेकिन एंजॉयमेंट का. लेकिन भक्त का भाव एंजॉयमेंट का नहीं है. वो अपनी सेंसेस को क्यों कंट्रोल कर रहा है? मुझे चाय नहीं पीनी, मुझे 4 रेगुलेटरी प्रिंसिपल्स फॉलो करने हैं, मुझे सुबह उठना है, मुझे जाप करना है. उद्देश्य क्या है? कृष्ण को प्रसन्न कर सकूं. somehow or the other वो मुझ पर खुश हो जाए. भाव ये है. भाव ये नहीं है कि मुझे इसके बदले में सिद्धियां मिले. Such a person has no opportunity. His senses will come in control very quickly. In this lifetime itself, if you are sincere, you can achieve what yogis can't achieve by thousands of years of meditation. So a person in Krishna consciousness has no opportunity to engage his senses in anything which is not for the purpose of Krishna. Therefore, a Krishna conscious person is a sannyasi and a yogi both. एक भक्ति योगी का औधा दोनों के से ऊपर हो गया. उसको योगी भी माना जाएगा, उसको सन्यासी भी माना जाएगा. The purpose of knowledge and the purpose of restraining your senses, as prescribed in the Gyan and Yoga process, is automatically served. So Krishna consciousness में automatically दोनों ही processes आ गए, योगा के भी और meditation ध्यान के भी, संन्यास के भी, योगा के भी, दोनों इसमें है. If one is unable to give up the activities of his selfish nature, then Gyan and Yoga are of no avail. So the real aim is for a living entity to give up all selfish satisfaction and to be prepared to satisfy the Supreme. क्या कृष्ण मुझसे प्रसन्न है? Can I do something for my Guru? How can I please my Guru? How can I please the Vaishnavas? How can I please the servants of Krishna? अगर ये भाव हमेशा रहेगा, such a person will have no desire for any kind of self-enjoyment. तो वो पाप के चक्रव्यूह से निकल आएगा. He is always engaged for the enjoyment of Krishna. So one who has no information of Krishna must therefore be engaged in self-satisfaction, because no one can stand on the platform of inactivity. All purposes are perfectly served by the practice of Krishna consciousness. Because soul is active by nature. Artificially आप अपने आप को बंद करके नहीं बिठा सकते कि मैं करूंगा ही नहीं, मैं भाग जाऊंगा दुनिया से, सब कुछ छोड़ छाड़ के भाग जाऊंगा, मैं कुछ करूंगा ही नहीं. आप इनएक्टिव नहीं बैठ सकते, बिकॉज द सोल इज एक्टिव बाय नेचर. वो आपको रेस्टलेस बनाता ही रहेगा, एंड सूनर और लेटर आप दोबारा से अपने सेंसेस के कंट्रोल में आ जाओगे. बट कृष्ण कॉन्शियसनेस इज सो सेफ कि आपके जितने मिलियंस ऑफ डिजायर्स हैं, सोल का रेस्टलेसनेस है, उस सबको आप सेवा में एंगेज कर सकते हो. तो फिर वो कंट्रोल में रहेगा, क्योंकि वो हर समय सेवा कर रहा है. लेकिन क्योंकि वो कृष्ण की सेवा कर रहा है, इसलिए वो धीरे धीरे काबू में आ जाएगा, जैसे कालिया काबू में आ गया. कृष्ण बार बार उसके 1000 हेड्स के ऊपर नृत्य कर रहे थे, उसके अपने पैरों से मार मार के उन्होंने उसके सारे डिजायर्स को प्योरीफाई कर दिया. उसका सारा पॉइजन निकल गया. Therefore that Kalia, who is still today living in Fiji, that area is not poisonous. Fiji में कोई poisonous snake नहीं है, जबकि Fiji is an island which is full of, I don't know, hundreds of varieties of snakes. इतनी varieties of snakes हैं उस island में. Poison नहीं है किसी में भी. और वहां पे middle of the island में एक cave है, जहाँ पे आज भी लोग जाकर भोग चढ़ाते हैं. Fijians जो वहाँ के लोकल हैं, कि यहाँ पे एक बहुत बड़ा सांप रहता है और हम उसको भोग चढ़ाते हैं ताकि वो शांत रहे और खुश रहे और बाहर नहीं आए हमें तंग करने के लिए. दैट्स कालिया. सो कालिया तक का इतना डेंजरस और इतना 1000 हुड्स वाला स्नेक का भी अगर पॉइजन निकल सकता है just by engaging in Krishna consciousness. So why not for us? Bhakti Yoga is so powerful that we have all hope कि हम कर्म बंधन में फंसेंगे नहीं. और अगर कर्म बंधन में फंसेंगे नहीं तो हमें दोबारा जन्म लेने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. So it is a very very foolproof, easy and safe process. है ना? Okay. Hari Bol. So can we